So here's a little fact for you. I never actually intended on my son being an only child. I definitely thought I was going to have another kid. But due to some mishaps in the family structural situation, lack of sperm, I pretty much like threw out that idea. So much so that the name that I had saved for my future daughter, I gave it to the van. This is how Charlie got its name. So fast forward to today. Everybody say hello to Pork Chop. So for those of you guys that don't know me, my name is Samaya. I live on this van. Her name is Charlie. It is my primary residence. And for those of you guys that do know me, then you know that I'm in the process of like revamping and dismantling my entire life as I've known it. I still do own the production company, but I also had a brick and mortar, a 10-bedroom mansion in Atlanta that I converted into a production studio while also shooting my show, Not Just Another Sex Podcast, which you can watch here. So I walked into 2025 dismantling all of those things. And my goal for this year is stability. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when it came to that business and everything that I'm letting go of is that I didn't realize I was building that business while also sacrificing my own like livelihood and stability for the sake of like my team and, the vision. I made a mistake for sure. So I think that it sounds pretty crazy that I am becoming this mom of two while trying to be on this quest of stability. So I thought that I would walk you guys through the process and my thought process of me getting pork chop. All right, they cutting grass outside, so I apologize for any noise, but I'm going to make my lunch and tell you guys all about it. All right? No, like he's like literally like he didn't waited for me to start recording to come over here and start fixing this grass. Hold on. All right, they was really getting to it, so I just had to move the van altogether. So hopefully the noise isn't so bad. Yes, I'm eating bacon and I don't want to hear nothing about it. I am on keto right now, and that is my excuse. That is my story, and I'm sticking to it. Okay. So for anyone that does not know, I have a 7-year-old boy. We call him Trey, like 3. And last year, I think around June, he told me that he wanted a puppy. He wanted a dog. Yes, like a real live dog. And if you know my son, then you know how crazy I was looking at him because Trey is the type of kid that will run up you if a dog is present. He will run out into traffic to get away from a dog. So when he was like, I want a dog, I was like, sir, what is you talking about? I'm probably the same way y'all was looking at me when I said I want stability and then I went and got a dog, to be fair. But, as a mom, I understood that what Trey was looking for was a companion. He wanted a friend, and I can respect that. He's an only kid. And I grew up, it was 5 of us, and we had dogs. So I have no idea, like, what he's going through or what that's like for him. But as a mom, like, I can acknowledge that, right? I took what he was saying very seriously because what I heard was that my baby was lonely. If you want something that you're afraid of, that's supposed to be man's best friend, then odds are you're lonely, right? So this was last June. At that time, my life was nowhere near prepared to handle a dog. I was living in 2 states. I was trying to manage this business that was flailing like a MFer, right? And my life, some people deemed it as successful or like brave or whatever the fuck, but last thing I think anybody would describe it as was stable. And if you know me, I pretty much just have one thing, not to overly traumatize my child. Yes, all of us are going to mess up in this parenting world for sure, but my goal is not to intentionally traumatize my child. And that doesn't mean like dropping everything and just getting him a dog because he asked for one. Not at all. But it does mean being a better version of myself so that way he don't have to deal with the extra stuff. And for me, stability is something that could give him what he wanted and also give me what I needed, right? And let's be clear, like, expenses of a dog is one thing, right? But also it's finding a dog that fits within my lifestyle. I live in a tin can, literally. And yes, in the winter months, we started renting this room. Even that's still one room. Like, we ain't got the whole place. We got a room. And we pretty much just sleep and shower there. We live in this van. And even with the room, that's not enough space for a growing boy and a dog. So I also don't have like the capacity for a dog that chews shit. I mean, you start chewing shit in our house gonna start falling apart. You know what I'm saying? So, ooh, it's popping. But also, I've had some really crazy experiences when it comes to even trying to have a dog. So if I even start from the beginning, when I was in second grade, I got attacked by my own dog. We grew up with a Rottweiler. Her name was Sasha. I got attacked by her when I was in second grade. Trey is in second grade now. So I just think it's like so ironic that this is the time where he wants a dog. But there was that. And then after that, I did try to have a dog in college. I had two roommates. They were both nurses. And I knew that I could not handle a dog by myself. And so I asked them if they would get the dog with me. They said yes. And so we got the dog together. And once like the work set in, it didn't go very well. They couldn't handle it. And so I ended up having to sell the dog to someone. And then the third time that I tried was while I was married. Look here, it is very important to clean the grease off of here and here. Okay. I just got to be careful. So the third time that I tried to have a dog was while I was married. I was pregnant. We were about to have the baby. And so we hadn't put enough time in with the dog. We weren't professional trainers. We didn't take the dog to a professional trainer. So really by the time I had Trey, we had a puppy and we had a newborn. And unfortunately, the dog was overtly aggressive towards the baby. And so his dad was not having it. It just has not been my best of luck with trying to have a pet of some sort, right? Fast forward to now, I did not take this decision lightly at all because, mind you, dogs have souls. I ain't gonna say they people. Maybe they've been in another life, but I definitely believe that like dogs have souls and they put in your life to help you. Like, growing up, I always had a dog. It's been in my adult life that I haven't. So there were three main reasons that changed my mind to make me feel like, you know what, I can handle this. I'm ready. This is some salmon that I pre-cut up. I love doing that. It makes cooking a lot easier on the pan. The first one, not even trying to be funny, is the woo-woo. Okay, the woo-woo is the spiritual and astrological side of all of this. Okay, so spiritually, I know that yes, I'm Trey's mother, but he is living his life. His perception is his reality, and it is my job to assist him with having a life that fits him, right? At least until he gets to a certain age and he can start deciding what parts he wants to keep and what parts he doesn't want to keep from how I've raised him. But for now, yes, I have to do what's best for me, but I also need to try and make that fit with what's best for him. I know that just like I have my spirit guides and I have God looking out for me, I know that he has the same things. The spiritual part is the divine timing, that everything will come together as it's supposed to, when it's supposed to, as long as I'm open to it, which means trying not to resist. So I just focused on letting go, clearing my plate, because at the end of the day, no matter what, I didn't know the how, the why, how it was going to come together, the cost, any of those things. But I did know that if a dog showed up right now, am I prepared for it? And the answer was hell no, right? And then the other part of that woo-woo is the astrological side, because astrologically, my life has not been stable due to Pluto, right? Pluto is so far from the sun that even anytime it shakes a tail feather, you can feel it. And so it last shook a tail feather in the sign of Capricorn. We'll talk about that another day. That'll be another video. But long story short, where Pluto was, and because it stays in a place for so long, the way that showed up for me was that from the years of really 2010, because that's when I went to college, to 2024, I had not had a stable life. I deemed it a successful life, but I still would not have categorized it as stable. Last year, you guys might have seen it, but astrologically, Pluto moved into a different sign. And ever since then, I've been feeling more support in my everyday habits. And when I think of like everyday and routine, Pets definitely falls in that category. And so one of the reasons that had probably been difficult was because astrologically it wasn't adding up, right? So the woo-woo is some of it. Some of that has changed. And so I feel like there's more energetic support, right? And then just being open to divine timing. So the next thing on that list for me was stability. For the longest, I thought that like stability with a pet meant I had to like have a house and I got to have a big old yard and I got to come home at the same time every day and things like that. But like through this vlog, I am home and just van life and alternative living styles, period. I've learned that stability is within my routines. Stability is within me, what I show up for each day. And I felt that having a dog actually, just like my alternative living, just like how I figured out another way to, live, I realized that if I got the right dog that was the right size and he could accompany me like through my routines, I could do this. Dogs need like space to run and play and things like that. I am in a point right now where my head is down. I'm rebuilding. I'm trying to do the normal things, work out every day, move more than once, eat decently, bringing stability and routines back to my life that fit my life. And the thing is that if I do that with that dog will just have my routines, and that is stability. Not locking him in a cage all the time because I can't be there. There are plenty of people that do have dogs that have homes and backyards and they don't play with them. They feed them and then put them back in their crate. And like, that's it. Going back to that divine timing, I was just hoping that if a dog was for me, it'd be one that like fits well within my lifestyle, right? The next thing being depression. So within my daily routines, and I'm very transparent about it. Like I've battled depression since as long as I understood what it actually was. The thing is that sometimes there are days, especially with me living alone, that I don't get out of bed. The sunlight don't see me, things like that. But the thing is that I never want to unintentionally harm like a creature or animal or my son or something. And so like whenever my son is not with me, it has been easy for me to fall into some of those patterns because I don't have anything like anybody to answer to. But with a dog, you can't do that. You're going to be picking up shit real fast and in a hurry if you don't take that dog out. It's going to be restless. It's going to get into stuff. Just like a kid, you got to put them in some activity. Just even in the couple weeks that I've had this dog, I've went outside and walked more miles than I have all year. And it's second nature because it also makes my life easier, especially with us living in a small space and things like that. Like this is just so helpful for getting Trey outside. And now Trey is outside a lot for a kid. I know they say kids don't play outside a lot, but we live in a van, baby. We always outside. I think the most difficult time is usually just winter because it gets cold and sometimes people don't want to be outside and that shit. So the third and final factor that helped me decide that this is what I was going to pursue was actually an organization called Pups and Pumps. Say that 3 times fast. This is what's so dope about it. They actually take dogs that are about to be put to sleep at the shelter and they train them for 6 to 8 weeks and pair them up with a survivor of domestic abuse, sexual abuse, and those that are in need. And then they give the dog back to you trained, and then you go on about your life. Okay? So they approached me about doing some advertising because they had an event coming up. And so if you listen to my show, it's called Not Just Another Sex Podcast, please make sure you check it out. You know about my background of sexual abuse in the home while I was being raised. And see, I'm doing a lot. I got a lot of dip on my chip right now. And so I, of course, was like, for sure, I'll advertise that. That's no problem. And so I was like, hey, I'm going to come to the event that you guys are having as well so that I can check it out, get some footage. I'll make a reel. It's no problem. Today I am going to an event. It's called Pups and Pumps, and it is amazing. They are actually rescuing puppies that are going to be put down, and they are training them and pairing them up with assault survivors. And I think this is just dope as fuck. It's so many different levels to this, but it's just so resourceful. And so I love that the energy is being recycled. And so go with me on the day. Oh my God, it's some horses. She has braids. Oh, hi. I'm Samaya.
Is that your new baby?
I went to the event, and I don't think I was ready to get a dog then, but after going to the event, the energy was just so amazing. I met both of the founders, and both of them had their own unique stories. I have a good friend, a trainer, actually, Allison. Baudet is her husband, and he actually trains dogs for security and protection. Like, he has a business that does that. And so he paired up with his business partner, and she has a profound love for animals and their support for people. And she has a really amazing story about, like, just how her pet changed her life type stuff, right? And so I talked to Baudet, and I'm like, hey, I was just kind of wondering how the program works. Like, would I be qualified to do this program or what? And he's like, yeah, you would qualify. Like, the show, we know your story, whatever. And I told him, I said, I'm open to it. I said, but honestly, I don't know, because my son. And so I gave him the rundown. I was like, look, Trey don't mess with no type of dogs, but he mentioned to me that he wanted a dog, and you guys have shown up, and this kind of just feels like maybe an opportunity or something. And Baudet got to work so fast. So fast. I left there with tips on how to start easing Trey into dogs, right? And he said, let me know the next time you're in town, and we'll take you and Trey to the shelter, and we'll go look at some dogs. So we set it up. Now, this is not an overnight process. Trey told me he wanted the dog in like June. I think they contacted me about the program September, October, maybe. We didn't go to the shelter until like November. Trey didn't meet the dog until December, right? So this wasn't overnight. Like, it was a process, which honestly, I'm learning now, God don't show up sometimes in these big, bodacious ways. Sometimes God shows up like quietly, delicately. You know what I'm saying? Like real cutesy, real demure. Now sometimes he come through busting. But, in this instance, it was just coming together like smoothly. So for me, that was a really good sign. So I'm thinking about all of this, right? I don't have to go get the dog yet. I haven't made any decisions. I find out that I'm going to be in Atlanta a particular weekend. At this point, I have announced that the content house is closing, or at least I'm making the arrangements for the content house to close. So I know that at some point soon, hopefully I'll have the stability to make this happen. So I go to the shelter. Now, unfortunately, Trey was not with me the weekend that I had to go. And so I had to pick a dog based off of what I thought my son would like. And so I ended up picking Pork Chop for like 3 reasons. So first and foremost, that shelter smelled crazy. It looks crazy. They are understaffed and overpacked with dogs. Like, if you can adopt a dog, adopt a dog. Let me just say that. But I picked this dog because he was not aggressive. When we walked up, he was about to get fed, and the person had put they arm in the cage. He was surrounded by other dogs, and he was like not aggressive at all. Like, it just didn't bother him. Like sometimes when you touch a dog head or like by their bowl while they eating and stuff like that, they get real, crazy. And he just wasn't like that. Like I said, Trey don't like dogs, so I think not having an aggressive dog was very important. 2, his size. This dog was 24 pounds. It was clear that he was not a puppy. He was already like maybe 3 or 4 years old. So his size worked. Now, I'm a big dog type of girl. I like them big dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I grew up with Rottweilers, but I think that would have been a lot for Trey and also for Charlie. I don't think Charlie was ready for a big dog. I don't think I was ready for a big dog. Big dogs, big poops. It was just a lot. So the size of the dog was very appealing. But even though it was a smaller dog, it don't like look like a Chihuahua or something like that. No offense to those who love Chihuahuas and other small dogs. But if he was bigger, he would also look like a big dog. So I like the fact that he looked like a regular size dog, but it was a smaller package. And the third was that when we found him, his name was Pizza Roll. Pizza Roll. Me and Trey had already been talking about the program and getting the dog. And so I had asked him, like, if you get a dog, what would you name the dog? And he was like, I'd name the dog Pork Chop. I had told Trey I wanted a dog named Pork Chop a long time ago. First, I didn't even think he remembered that. 2, I told him, I said, you don't have to name the dog Pork Chop just because I wanted to name the dog Pork Chop. He was like, no, I really like that name. I think it's a very cool name. Is he lying? No. So I went with it. When I went there, Pork Chop was actually named Pizza Roll, and he was the only dog there that was that size and named after a food item, not a pork chop, but a pizza roll. I thought that was like a sign from God. I said the woo-woo. The woo-woo on why I did this was the number one. So you should already know that. And then the third thing was when we took him out to play, he instantly reminded me of my kid. Not trying to say my kid reminded me of a dog, but energy-wise, he was very chill in the cage, right? He seemed like he was a little scared, probably because he was in that place, but he was very chill. We let that dog outside, he was not chill. He was absolutely like, what we about to do? Throw the ball. I can escape. Y'all hear me? Ooh, I'm out. Like, he was wilding. And if you know Trey, he is very chill. Most of his friends are adults. I'm not gonna lie to you, outside of his school friends. But when he get around other kids, he be turning up. Ooh, ooh, and that's how this dog was. But I love the fact that when it was time to chill, he knew how to chill. And so I FaceTime Trey. I showed him the dog. I asked him, what do you think about this one? Trey is a Libra moon. I know that probably don't seem like it has anything to do with anything, but it has everything to do with everything. He was like, okay, that works. And so I was like, do you still want the dog? And he was like, yeah, I do. So I said, okay, I've learned to just trust Trey. If he don't want something, he would tell me, but he had like no excitement whatsoever. So at this point, the process got started. I did the paperwork for the adoption center. Baudet and the Pups and Pumps program did their part as far as like setting up the trainer, paying for the trainer, and also giving me some tips on how to get Trey prepared, such as like figuring out what his responsibilities would be, making sure that he's read some books and like understand what's going on. Because their biggest thing is to make sure that the dog doesn't go back into a shelter. We set up a time for Trey to meet Porkchop. On the weekend that we're supposed to meet the dog, we get into town a little late. And so the trainer and I decide that we'll just meet the next day. That way we don't lose any of our time for the appointment. Trey starts crying. And so I'm taking that as a good sign, like, oh, he's so disappointed. Like, I don't want my baby to be disappointed, but he's disappointed to the point that he cries. He's like, I really want to meet Porkchop. So I'm like, great. This is great. Like, I console the kid, but great, right? So next day, we show up to meet the dog. We have an hour time slot with this dog trainer. He don't touch the dog for the first 50 minutes. He won't come close to it. He won't hold the leash. He won't pet it. Nothing. I had to make an executive decision at that point as a mother. I had to make a decision. I said, Trey, if you don't interact with this dog, the dog got to go back to the shelter. Because we can't have a dog that you can't touch, and we live in a van. He said, but if it go back to the shelter, what'll happen to it? Now, I'm not proud of this, but I said, he looked at me, and he looked at the dog, and he bent down and started petting the dog, y'all. Am I proud of myself? No. But he started touching that dog. And in that moment, I actually got a little emotional because his fear for dogs is real to him. It's real. As a person that's got bitten by a dog, it's real. His fear is not irrational. And the thought of the dog losing its life made him confront his fear. Not even for himself, but for the dog. And I was like, dang, he really is like a good person, has a good heart. And so that was nice. So he walks the dog around. They even take a picture together. They walk up the little bleachers and stuff like that. And he's having a good time. And of course, those last 10 minutes go by so fast. He's like, oh, well, can we just take it now? First off, this dog is not fully trained yet. No. And second, of course, now that he started touching the dog, he wants the dog to come with us. Now, I'm also thinking in my head, he might have to get used to the dog again because, of course, the dog still has to be in training for like 6 weeks. We set a date to come back and get the dog Valentine's weekend. So this is Valentine's, February 2025. From there, things started to pick up really fast. Realized, okay, we can definitely make this work. So at this point, I'm selling all my stuff at the content house. I've announced that I'm ending the podcast. Me and Trey are talking about everything that is about to happen. I'm getting him prepared for it, right? And I get a call that the dog is ready. It's the first weekend of February. So it's like 2 weeks early, right? And so Trey is not with me at that time because we had already planned to be together to go pick up the dog Valentine's Day weekend. So I don't tell him because I don't want him to be sad. And also any opportunity to do something differently, I try to use it. But also like when things don't necessarily go as planned, I try to look at it and see like, how else can I make this work out in my favor? And nothing was wrong. I just wanted him to be a part of the pickup. But honestly, it worked out for better because it gave me some time to be alone and focused on Pork Chop and like what he needs and making sure I understand that before inviting Trey into it as well, because it is his dog. So like if he went to go do the pickup, I would want him to understand the training and things like that, and I wouldn't necessarily be entirely present. I head to Atlanta. Trey made all his list of everything that the dog would need, and so I ordered everything and it all arrived on time. Today is a very special day. I am picking up Pork Chop. If you guys are not up to date, my son asked for a dog about maybe like 8 months ago. And ever since then, I've been in the process of changing my life around so that way I can make that happen for him. For a few reasons. Not just like, oh, my kid wants a dog, so I'm gonna make it happen. But if you know Trey, he has always been very, very afraid of dogs. Even this one, when he met it, he was afraid of the dog. But at his age and just kind of the life that I've been in, him being an only child, I can imagine that he's probably a little lonely and he wants a friend. I grew up in a house with 5 siblings, and so I don't know what it's like to be alone, you know? And I'm just really excited because also a pet is a huge sign of stability. I want to be able to maintain this, and I have not had the best of luck in the past because of certain circumstances. And this time, you know, I went very slow. Not just, oh, I want a dog and then just immediately going out and getting one or anything like that. But to take my time and figure it out. But I just wanted to grab the moment because in this moment, I have so much gratitude and I want to remember it. And I'm so proud of myself. I really hope this is the start of stability for me. And, you know, I went through a lot of tough lessons to learn about stability and what it is and what it isn't. And now that I understand that I don't have to sacrifice myself to have stability, I don't have to be a rebel in that fashion. There's a stable life out there for me that doesn't have me bending. And so I'm just excited, and, you know, I hope it works out well. So, all right. And so I went to pick up Pork Chop, and Alyssa was there, his amazing trainer. She owns Pups ATL. And I really cannot express this enough. They did an amazing job. So when I got there, they showed me how everything works, what commands he knew. She had recorded a video for us to take home in case we forgot anything. And then they let me run through everything myself with Pork Chop to make sure that he understood, I understood, we were on the same page. We even got the crate out of the van to test that out. And we said our goodbyes, and it was emotional for her, but also she was excited because she said that Pork Chop is the first van life dog that she had trained. She had called him her little roadie because he liked being in the car. I was like, okay, if Pork Chop is going to be with me, I can put him in the front seat. So I had put the crate in the front seat, and the crate was still kind of big, and I had strapped it down with some pulley straps and shit. That worked. Like, he did really well with it. He liked being near me. I was able to like give him snacks through it, and he stayed. He listened really, really well. And we had a really good drive back to Florida, and I really did appreciate having some one-on-one time with Pork Chop. So we got to spend about 2 weeks together before, you know, my son shows up. And I got a chance to just check out his temperament. I got a chance to see like what are his go-tos, like how he is as a dog. And honestly, Pork Chop cool, bro. Pork Chop is pretty cool. And very protective also. Like, I thought he was very quiet. Like, he's not aggressive towards me at all. And actually not even towards people, but like other dogs coming around, he's immediately barking. Or if somebody pops up and kind of like spooks me a little bit, I'm aware of it because I hear him growling. Now, am I saying he should be growling at folks? No, but also just because he's a small dog don't mean he's not there to protect and, you know, bring awareness. I've been practicing his training tools with him every day as she suggested, and it's been really nice. I was teaching him how to get up and down off of the bed. Yes, I said bed, which brings me to the fact I had to take his little dirty self to get groomed, okay? Petco held us down, okay? He got a couple of outfits. I don't know how he ended up with his Friends t-shirt. I don't know what had happened was. Y'all know Friends is my show. Yes, I love Living Single, but they didn't have a Living Single shirt. My 2 weeks along with Pork Chop honestly were amazing. I needed it to kind of just solidify a relationship with him myself. We have been outside walking because I do have to tire this dog out. Not because he's like overly hyper or anything like that, just because I want him to have a good life. I do take it pretty seriously because I intentionally got him, knowing that my life is set up like it is. We actually spent a full day together doing a whole bunch of activities. Like each day I work on different things and stuff like that, so I can't like just play with the dog all day. But I actually had a fun day Saturday with him. I took him on a walk to the park. I took him to the lake. So it was just a really good time. And so I'm very excited for Trey to meet Pork Chop.
Oh, so excited. You want to say hey? Hey, Pork Chop. Try. He on the leash. He on the leash. Come here. I got you. Come on. Remember we facing our face? Yeah. Okay. He's on the leash. Come here. Come say hey. Hey, Pork Chop. Hi, Pork Chop. See, look. This is a good boy. Wait, I thought that you were going to get him on Saturday. I had him for 2 weeks. Oh, okay. I went and got him when I dropped you off to Daddy's house 2 weeks ago. He was ready early. Okay. Hey, Pork Chop. Hey, Pork Chop. Good boy. How long is he going to be with us? He's your dog. Wait, I got him for... Ever. Wait. It's your dog now. Yes. Look, he got a shirt. Look at his shirt. Wait, what is it? Oh, it's Friends. Oh. Pork Chop. All right. How about you get in, and then I'll give him to you, okay? Okay. Okay. Hey, Pork Chop. Hey, Pork Chop. Hey, boy. Hey, boy. Don't go. See, he'll just jump on you like that. Hey, Pork Chop. Here. At the park. At the park now. You're gonna be playing it. Oh, he wants you to rub him. That's what he do when he wants you to rub him.
A huge shout out and thank you to Pups and Pumps as well as Purple Pups ATL, because they really just did an amazing job holding our hand through the process and equipping us with the parts that we need. Getting a dog is the easy decision, but training it and giving it back to us, and just the entire experience was truly amazing. So if you have not, please make sure that you check them out. If you know someone in need of a dog or is a survivor, please hit them up. They really handled everything so amazing. And that's the story of how I ended up as a mom of 2. So I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Home, the van vlog about me coming home to myself. No matter what type of life you live, how unconventional or alternative it is, you are home. And home is created within the routines and boundaries that you set within yourself, no matter where you are and no matter what you're going through. So I love you guys, and click the links below, wherever they are.